All right, guys, I think we're live right now here from Jerusalem. Live from Jerusalem here in Israel. I know it's early back in on the East Coast. It's probably about 3:30 a.m. in the East Coast. But here we do have some breaking news developing now between Israel and the Hamas over in the Gaza Strip. Now, first of all, you need to know that the Hamas did fire 113 rockets or mortars. Excuse me, I'm wrong. 130 either rockets or mortars into Israel. One came very close to a kindergarten. Nobody was injured in Israel, despite the fact that they fired all those rockets and mortars. Now, Israel has retaliated with a strategic 35 airstrikes that hit 35 different targets. Now, reports are that no one was killed in the Gaza Strip either, that these targets were military locations, areas where they store ammunition, where they tunnels, warehouses, places where they store things, strategic locations for Hamas. We do not know if anyone was killed. The reports are no one was, but then again, we do not always sure what we get when we're talking about what's coming out of Hamas. Good to see all you folks that are gathering with us live right now. You're probably in different locations of the world and different time zones, so it's good to see all of you. Holly and Brenda and Sandy and Amber and Angela and Ziggy and everybody else. So I just want to say good morning to all of you, or good afternoon, or wherever you're at. Here in Jerusalem, it's a beautiful sunny day. It's 10:35 a.m. in the morning. I'm getting ready to get out there onto the streets, but I want to get you up to speed. Check this out. Like we said last night, if you saw our video, it was a spectacular full moon last night over Jerusalem. It was not blood red, but it did turn a deep orange, and people were taking pictures everywhere. It was quite apocalyptic, if you will, because it was spectacular full moon over Jerusalem, especially in lieu of the fact that Hamas had fired those 130 rockets or mortars into Israel. Sirens had been blaring all day. Now, we do have some good news. Hamas says it would like to have a ceasefire. Hamas says it would agree to a ceasefire if Israel would reciprocate. So here's the information that's just now breaking in the last 30 minutes or so. Gaza's dominant Islamic Hamas movement said this morning, about a half hour ago, that the Palestinian armed militant group, including the Islamic Jihad that's over there, they said over in Gaza they'd be willing to agree to a ceasefire as long as Israel also would enter into a ceasefire. And this is the most intense flare-up of fighting between Hamas and Gaza and Israel since the 2014 war. That was during those 4 blood moons, right in the middle of those 4 blood moons. It was a 50-day war. I covered that every day for you guys on YouTube. Now, that was 4 years ago. Well, following dozens of rocket and mortar launches at Israel throughout yesterday and even during the night, Israeli tanks and airstrikes in Gaza, there were no reports of violence more than 2 hours after the announcement of a truce by Hamas. Israeli intelligence are now telling us that today, whether Israel had agreed to the ceasefire or not, it's not clearly understood, but right now there's no escalation. It depends on Hamas, says Israel. If it attacks, we'll attack. If they don't, we won't. Now, the authorities in southern Israel, where the rocket warning sirens have sounded frequently since the Palestinian barrage began yesterday, says schools would go ahead and reopen. So apparently they must know Hamas is not, they're begging for mercy basically and saying, don't fire no more at us. Well, the armed wings, the armed area, the wings of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad claim responsibility for the firing, saying it was in response to Israel killing dozens of Palestinians since March 30th. Most of them were along that Gaza border protesting. Israel says we only shot the ones trying to cross the border or breach the border. And most of those were Hamas members who were trying to do this. We were just protecting our borders. We all know, folks, that Hamas went on a 6-week campaign of trying to breach the border leading up to the 70th anniversary of Israel as a nation and the opening of the U.S. Embassy right here in Jerusalem. So, as of right now, Israel has hit 55 facilities belonging to the militant group Gaza. First reports we had was it was 35 airstrikes. It was 35 airstrikes. And it was also 20 artillery fired by tanks. So Israel has hit 55 facilities belonging to militant groups in Gaza, including a cross-border tunnel under construction in response to the Palestinian barrage. So the Palestinians fired 130 rockets or mortars into Israel. Israel retaliated by hitting 55 Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip. Hamas is now asking for a ceasefire with Israel, and Israel has said, no problem, don't shoot at us, we won't fire back. So that's where we're at right now. What does this all mean? We have reports that that the United States and others are going to be joining in emergency meetings to discuss the tension that's building along the Gaza Strip and with Israel. And so we're going to keep a close eye on all that. Now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as me and all of us here in Jerusalem, very, very quiet, very, very safe here. No dangers at all. The Israeli forces do a tremendous job in protecting the city of Jerusalem. There's just no problems here. But, of course, everybody in Israel watching very closely to make sure that this doesn't escalate into something else. So it's going to be interesting to see today on the streets what's going to be the demeanor of the Palestinians who do live here in the city. Will there be a relative calm, or is there something else being planned? Sometimes that happens. We will wait and see. I'll be on the streets. Sister Heidi and I will be getting reports for you from Jerusalem. Meanwhile, we're also going to some different locations while we're here where we'll be filming for YouTube and for television. So all of that, we'll keep you up to speed on everything going on, and we'll stay with you all the way through this. Tonight I will be broadcasting at 7 p.m. here in Jerusalem. That is 12 noon Eastern, back home in Indiana and on the East Coast. So I'll be my regular scheduled broadcast for Wednesday for 12 noon Eastern is on. I will see you guys then, if not before. I'll keep you up to speed with YouTube videos. Keep watching. God bless all of you, and have a great, great day. Pray for the peace here in the Middle East. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and you'll prosper in Jesus' name. Shalom, shalom. Good to see everybody. God bless all of you. Are you serious?